Hello and welcome to Dosis de Cultura. Today we bring you a challenge full of curiosities and fascinating facts. Ready to challenge your mind with 100 general knowledge questions? Let's get started. Who painted the Garden of Earthly Delights? Bosch. What did Alexander Fleming discover? Penicillin. In 1928, while studying bacteria, Alexander Fleming noticed that a fungus had eliminated the bacteria on one of his culture plates. This fungus was Penicillium, and its discovery led to penicillin, the first antibiotic in history. What is the name given to the group of stars that form a recognizable pattern in the sky? Constellation. Which part of the tree transports water from the roots to the leaves? The xylem. What is a work called that collects articles from many fields of human knowledge? Encyclopedia. Which Roman goddess represented love, beauty, and fertility? Venus. What is Chile, besides being the name of a country? A fruit. Which country is this flag from? It's the flag of Cambodia. What is the discipline that studies word origins and evolution called? Etymology. In which ocean did the Battle of Midway take place during World War II? In the Pacific Ocean. Which tropical fruit has a crown of leaves on its top? Pineapple. What is the scientific name for current human beings? Homo sapiens is the scientific name of our species. In Latin, it means wise man, and the first individuals appeared about 300,000 years ago. Although other human species like Homo habilis and Homo erectus existed before, only Homo sapiens managed to develop complex symbolic thinking, language, and culture, which allowed us not only to survive, but also to transform the world around us and look beyond the stars. Which mountain range contains the world's highest peaks? In the Himalayas. Who painted The Persistence of Memory? Salvador Dalí. Which of the following elements is commonly used as fuel in nuclear reactors? Uranium. What part of the ship is located at the bottom and gives it stability? The keel. Which country is Vienna the capital of? Austria. Which animal symbolizes peace in Japanese culture? In Japanese culture, the crane is a profound symbol of peace and hope. This belief was strengthened by the story of Sadako Sasaki, a girl who experienced the effects of the atomic bomb, and who, according to tradition, tried to fold 1,000 cranes to fulfill her wish to be healed. Since then, origami cranes have represented the collective wish for a peaceful future. Which actor stars in the Mission Impossible movies series? Tom Cruise. Where's Sugarloaf Mountain? In Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. What country is BMW originally from? Germany. Where is Hadrian's Wall? In the United Kingdom. Hadrian's Wall is located in the north of the United Kingdom and was built by order of the Roman Emperor Hadrian in the 2nd century. Its purpose was to mark the boundary of the Roman Empire and protect its territories from the people who lived in what is now Scotland. Which specialty studies the human body's hormonal system? Endocrinology. Which alcoholic beverage is used to prepare a mojito? Rum. Which empire was based in Constantinople? The Byzantine Empire. Who was the author of the sculpture The Thinker? Auguste Rodin. Which European country's flag features a white cross on a red background? Switzerland. Cats are herbivores, true or false? That's false. Cats are strict carnivores, which means their bodies are designed to feed exclusively on meat. They need essential nutrients, such as taurine, which is only found in animal tissues. That's why a plant-based diet can't meet their nutritional needs and can put their health at risk. What Roman numeral stands for 100? C. Which of these diseases is caused by a parasite and transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito? Malaria. What other Spanish city besides Melilla is on the African continent? Ceuta? In which board game do you have to form crossed words on a board? In Scrabble. What happened on July 20th, 1969? Man's arrival on the moon. Which sea was parted by Moses according to the biblical account? The Red Sea. What instrument was traditionally used to navigate at sea by observing the stars? A sextant. What determines the color of a star? Its temperature. The color of a star depends on its temperature. The hottest ones appear blue or white, while the coolest ones appear red or orange. So the color doesn't tell us how far away a star is, but rather how hot its surface is. Which of these bones is the humerus? The humerus is the bone of the arm. Which Arab country borders Europe through the Strait of Gibraltar? Morocco. Which two continents are divided by the Suez Canal? Asia and Africa. In which city was Archduke Franz Ferdinand assassinated, triggering World War I? In Sarajevo. Which country is the Valley of the Kings in? In Egypt. What is Batman's butler's name? Alfred. Which of these cities is not the capital of its country? Istanbul is not Turkey's capital. Who wrote the novel Hopscotch? Julio Cortázar. Which literary device exaggerates reality? Hyperbole. Which is the real flag of the European Union? The real flag is C. Which organ of the human body is mainly affected by pneumonia? The lungs. In which continent does the Maasai tribe live? In Africa, between Kenya and Tanzania. In what year did the Great Depression occur? In 1929. The Great Depression began in 1929 with the crash of the New York Stock Exchange. This economic crisis quickly spread around the world, causing banks to close, companies to go bankrupt, and millions of people to become unemployed. It was among the worst modern recessions and made governments reconsider their economic roles. Which planet is between Earth and Mercury in the solar system? Venus. What is the official currency of Russia? The Russian ruble. Who is the current president of China? Xi Jinping. What is the main raw material in the steel industry? Iron. Which of these three animals belongs to the group of birds? Penguins are birds. What form of government is headed by a king or a queen? Monarchy. Which country has the largest number of operational airports? The United States. Who was the mother of the god Horus in Egyptian mythology? Isis? Which astronomer developed the laws of planetary motion? Johannes Kepler. Which typical Spanish drink is made with red wine, chopped fruits, sugar, and some kind of liquor? Sangria. Which president abolished slavery in the United States? Abraham Lincoln. Which European country is known for windmills, tulips, and canals? The Netherlands. On which continent did the first Homo sapiens appear? In Africa. Which invention ended prehistory and began history? Writing. From the invention of writing, societies were able to record laws, knowledge, stories, and key moments of their time. Thanks to it, today we can know how ancient civilizations thought, lived, and organized themselves, allowing us to reconstruct the past with a depth that was previously impossible. Where is the city of Casablanca? In Morocco. Which country stretches the farthest from north to south? Chile. What gemstone is also the hardest known natural material? The diamond. Which board game involves removing blocks without letting the tower fall? Jenga. Which mountain marks the border between France and Italy and is the highest in the Alps? Mont Blanc. What is the name of the character played by Vin Diesel in the Fast and Furious movie series? Dominic Toretto. In which month does autumn begin in the Southern Hemisphere? In March. Within a company, which department is responsible for payroll management, hiring, and labor relations? Human resources. Butterflies taste with their feet. True or false? It's true. Butterflies have taste sensors on their feet, which allows them to taste the surfaces they land on. This way, they can detect if a plant is suitable for laying their eggs, or if it contains nectar. Which of these countries is not part of the United Kingdom? Ireland. Which river flows through the Grand Canyon? The Colorado River. Who starred in the movie The Pianist? Adrian Brody. What medical procedure is performed to obtain a tissue sample and examine it in the laboratory? Biopsy. In what year was Rome founded? in the year 753 before Christ. Which region of the world is made up of Sweden, Norway, and Denmark? Scandinavia. What is the capital of Serbia? Belgrade. Shooting stars are real stars. True or false? That's false. So-called shooting stars are not stars at all, but small particles of dust or rock that enter the Earth's atmosphere at high speed. As they do so, they burn up due to friction with the air and produce that bright flash in the sky. Which tree produces cork? The cork oak. Which book section lists chapters and their locations? The index. Which company makes the Cybertruck electric vehicle? Tesla. Where was the writer Mario Vargas Llosa born? Nobel Prize in Literature in 2010. In Peru. How many centuries are equivalent to a millennium? Ten centuries. Which of these countries has French as one of its official languages? Haiti. What unit is used to measure the speed of ships? The speed of ships is measured in knots. Which Roman goddess was equivalent to the Greek Athena? Minerva. What fictional African country is home to the superhero Black Panther? Wakanda. What is the name of the traditional Japanese art of folding paper? Origami. In statistics, what is the value that occurs most often in a data set called mode? Which country does the island of Sicily belong to? Italy. What was the name of the epidemic that caused millions of deaths in Europe during the 14th century? The Black Plague struck Europe between 1347 and 1351, and it is estimated to have killed more than 25 million people, almost half of the continent's population at that time. It was caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis, transmitted by fleas that lived on rats. The speed at which it spread, combined with the lack of medical knowledge at the time, created an atmosphere of panic, social chaos, and profound changes in the economy and medieval daily life. Which Arab city is considered the holiest in Islam? Makkah in Saudi Arabia. Which country does the island of Tasmania belong to? Australia. What does sigillography study? Stamps. Which of these rivers passes through the city of Madrid? The Manzanares River. Which hormone regulates the sleep cycle? Melatonin. In which century was the telephone invented? In the 19th century. Did you want more? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. And keep learning with Dosis de Cultura.